Stop studying 8 hours a day for tech interviews. Seriously, stop. You are burning out. Your brain isn't retaining the logic. And honestly, many of the guys who are cracked at FANG companies are barely studying 2 to 3 hours a day. That's it. I know, it sounds like a scam. Your college professors may tell you to grind all night, and your LinkedIn gurus post doing about 500 LeetCode problems. But today I'm going to give you the exact data-backed 2 hours framework that forces your brain to work faster than someone doing an 8-hour zombie grind. By the end of this video, you won't just have a timetable, you'll definitely come to know the ghost concept trick that many recruiters are looking for, and the exact 45 minutes coding routine that triggers massive retention. Look, if you have 8 hours a day to waste, this video isn't for you. But you're balancing college exams, a messy social life, and you just want a high-paying job offer without losing your mind. Pay close attention to the next 10 minutes, because at some point I'm going to share one specific mistake 90% of students will make in the final week of the interviews that instantly gets them rejected regardless of how much they study. Let's break down the math. Why does 8 hours fail and how 2 hours win? Let's talk about the zombie grind. You sit down at 2 p.m. You open LeetCode or a programming course. By 4 p.m. you checked Instagram 10 times, watched a couple of tech vlogs and copied a solution from YouTube. And by 10 p.m. you feel exhausted and tell yourself, wow, I studied 8 hours a day. That's bullshit. You actually had 45 minutes of actual focus mixed with 7 hours of digital fatigue. Your brain learned nothing, it just got tired. And the tech interviews don't test your stamina, they test your pattern recognition. When an interviewer of Amazon, TCS, Wipro or any broad-based company, if they give you a problem, they want you to build a perfect logic of that. And they don't want you to remember the code. And of course, you can't build high-level logic when your brain is fatigued. This is where the 2-hour hyper-focus window comes in. Now we are dividing your 120 minutes into a strict and military style. It's like 3-part block. 45 minutes of deep coding, 45 minutes of core engineering theory, and 30 minutes of revision and reverse engineering. And if you do this right, your 2 hours will yield triple the result of someone who is sitting all the day. But there is a catch. To make this work, you have to activate what I call the no phone protocol. For these 2 hours, your phone, not just on silent mode, just keep it another room or almara or whatever you want. But your phone shouldn't be visible to you. If you touch your phone, the 2 hours rule will become 0 and you have to start again. That's the rule. Now, let's talk about the first 45 minutes block. Because most people will ruin this block within 5 minutes by choosing wrong problem to solve. Most students open a platform, for example LeetCode, and sort by easy method and solves 20 problems that they already know how to do just to get a green check mark and a hit of dopamine. That is a waste of time. And if you know how to solve a problem in 5 minutes, you are not learning, you are just repeating. In our 2 hours of framework, we mainly focus on struggle. If you are not staring at a problem that feels slightly confused, your brain isn't forming new neural pathways. So now I am going to show you exactly how to pick up a problem to maximize this 45 minutes window without getting stuck. Because getting stuck for hours becomes the number one reason the students who quit. Let's transition into block 1, the 45-minute coding execution. Here's exactly what you do from minute 1 to minute 45. From minute 0 to 20, you pick one problem, not 5, just one. It should be medium level problem based on your specific topic you are targeting this week. For the first 20 minutes, you don't need to type a single line of code. You use a pen and paper and you'll write a brute force logic and draw the pointer movements and talk out loud that you are explaining to a recruiter. You can ask me, why should I talk out loud? Because tech interviews are like oral exams. If you still solve the problem with a clean and transparent manner, but you are not able to communicate it with the interviewer, you may lose your job. Now what happens if your 20-minute timer dings and you have absolutely no idea how to solve it? This is where magic happens, and this is where 99% of students fail. But you are going to do something different. Instead of spending the next 3 hours crying over the screen, you immediately open the editorial or a video explanation. But now, you don't just copy the solution, you read it, you understand it. You definitely find the insights you missed. Was it a two-pointer approach or was it a hash map optimization? Whatever it may be. And definitely, you will find that aha moment. Then it is critical. You close the solution window completely. Blindfold yourself to it. Now, write the code based on your mental map. If you can type it without looking back at the solution, your brain has actually internalized the pattern and you just saved yourself 3 hours of aimless guessing. That takes care of your first 45 minutes. You are now hyper focused. Your brain is firing, but you can't just be a coder. Tech companies will reject a perfect coder if they fail the core fundamental round. Yes, I'm talking about database management systems or system designs or operating systems. If you are wondering how on earth we can study these many concepts in just 45 minutes a day, it's because you study them completely wrong. You don't need to read a 500-page textbook of operating system to crack an interview. You need to decode the interview checklist. That's it. In block 2, our second 45 minutes window, we focus entirely on core theory by using reverse engineering model. Instead of studying a chapter and looking at questions, we take the top 50 interview questions and learn the chapters through them. For example, instead of reading all about memory management, you look up exactly how paging versus segmentation is explained to the interviewer. And of course, here you learn the concept contextually. This keeps your brain engaged because you are studying the exact product you need to deliver in the interview round. Now we are coming up to the most dangerous part of our 2-hour routine, the final 30 minutes. This is the retention block. Remember the massive mistake I promised you to tell you about, the one that ruins candidate chances in the final week. We are coming up on it in less than 2 minutes, and trust me, it ties directly into how you utilize these 30 minutes, because without this final block, everything you studied in the first 90 minutes will evaporate from your brain within 45 minutes. And of course, it's a scientific fact called Ebbinger's forgetting curve. Let's fix that. Welcome to the final 30 minutes of your daily 2-hour powerhouse plan. This is where we log the data into your long-term memory using a technique called active recall. Take a blank piece of paper. Do not look at your code from earlier. Do not even look at your notes. Just write down 3-sentence summary of coding logic you learned in the first block and code definition in the second block. If you can extract it from your brain without looking, it means you own that knowledge. If you have to look back at your screen to remember, it means you only have an illusion of competence. Now let's address that critical final week mistake I warned you before. This is the trap that kills thousands of dreams every single year. When a student gets the interview mail saying your interview will be on 7 days, they will panic. They abandon their 2 hours technique and they will study 14 hours a day. They try to cram new algorithms, new technologies at the last minute of their interviews. This triggers an immense amount of cortisol. Cortisol is nothing but stress hormone in your brain. Now when you walk into the interview room, your brain is in the survival mode, not in a logical mode, and you end up remembering basic syntax that you have known for years. So the rule for the final week is simple: 0 new concepts. You spend your 2 hours doing nothing and reviewing your 30-minute daily active recall notes, and you rely on the depth of what you know, not the volume of what you crammed. I have seen average students cracked elite jobs just because they stayed calm and relaxed more. But wait, there is still one missing piece in this puzzle. You might be wondering, this 2 hours daily schedule may be good from Monday to Friday, but what about weekends? The weekends are where you turn your 2 hours daily routine to a compounding machine. And no, I am not going to tell you to study 10 hours on Saturday. The weekend, we run a simulated environment. You take your 2 hours and spend them completely on something. Automated testing of your skills under a real clock. You enter a live weekly coding contest on LeetCode or Code Chef. Even if you can solve only one problem, you are training your nervous system to handle the tick-tick clock that you have to face in the interview room. Just think about the compound effect of this. 2 hours a day, 7 days per week is a 14 hours of high quality and zero distraction practice. In 3 months, that's nearly 180 hours of pure preparation. But let's be real for a second. The hardest part of 2-hour daily routine is not about coding and it's not about theory. The hardest part is waking up tomorrow and do it again when you don't even feel like it. When your friends are hanging out and when you get a rejection mail from a company you applied. So how do you maintain consistency when your motivation dies? Let's talk about the anchor habit. Remember one thing, motivation is a scam. Of course. If you only study for placements when you feel motivated, you'd never placed. You need an anchor habit. Tie your 2 hours day routine to something you already have every single day. For me, it's afternoon tea or coffee. The moment when the cup hit my desk, the 2-hour placement timer begins. No exemptions. Find your anchor. It could be right after you back from college or right after your morning shower. So make the entry point so that automatically your brain doesn't have a time to negotiate with you. Let's look at the current tech market reality. Companies are filtering out thousands of resumes using ATS, and they don't even have time to interview everyone. When you finally get your online assessment link, you might get 60 minutes to prove yourself. If you spend 2 hours a day building deep knowledge and building logical muscle memory, you will slice through the test like a knife through butter. And this routine is not just about passing a test. It's about building a standard of professional discipline. So if this video gave you a little bit of thing, Make sure to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Bye.